Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance. G'day, I'm Fletch, and this is Classic Restos. It's the classic car show that showcases vehicles from yesteryear. These are the lucky ones. These vehicles have survived. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Australia's most favourite classic car show, Classic Restos.
G'day and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos. Of course not possible without the continued support of Shannons Insurance. You know, when you stop and think about it, where would we be without Shannons? They're the only insurance company that get behind us enthusiasts and support us. They even turn up to the majority of motoring events around Australia. If you have a house, house contents, classic car, bike, a truck, if it's got wheels and a roof, give Shannons a call, 134646. You can also check them out online at shannons.com.au. It's a very comprehensive website, and while you're there, have a look at signing up to become a member of the Shannons Club. Yeah, you know, I'll show you great things in the United States of America, some great things in New Zealand, and I'll also show you a magnificent event here in Engadine, south of Sydney, New South Wales. Welcome to the Sutho Cops and Rodders event. So what is this Sutho Cops and Rodders event all about? Well, it's aiming to reduce road trauma and to promote safer driving. And the nice part about this event is that it supports the St George Hospital's trauma unit.
And on today's show, Fletcher's cooking up a storm, and it's all in the name of road safety and reducing road trauma, and it's a massive thanks to Sutho Cops and Rodders. You'll see race legend Jim Richards, Mark and his amazing 58 Corvette, time for the British with Ron's 1960 MG. Claire broke into tears showing off her 1969 HT Monaro. Bob with his Harley brings it on. Peter Dean shows off his old Ford. Ernie drives the fastest custom in the West. And Ken's 1931 Ford is up there with the best. It's all here on Classic Restos.
Making our way through Sutho Cops and Rodders, we have race car legend and ambassador for Shannons Insurance, Jim Richards. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thanks, Fletch.
How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm fantastic. You're looking good.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
No, great to be here.
I've got to say, Jim, I've known you for a lot longer than you've known me.
Well, is that good or bad?
Mate, look, honestly, you must have seen the whole fraternity just change so much over many decades.
No, I certainly have. And when I started racing, it was, there was a lap sash, seatbelt, no overalls. I used to race in my socks. So, things have changed. Safety has changed, cars have changed, but all for the better.
What was it like back in the days of the steel wheels, pounding them around the racetracks? I mean, there must have been, as being a young bloke, it must have been exciting stuff.
Oh, no, it certainly was. I mean, obviously the car you were driving at the time was the fastest car you'd ever driven. Yeah. And thinking back now, they weren't a fast car at all, but it's only a comparison with what's currently running, you know.
And you won in New Zealand in an automatic charger, I believe, too.
Yeah, we had our equivalent to Bathurst in New Zealand was the Benson Hedges 1000, and it was a 1,000k race. And it was for New Zealand assembled production cars.
Jim, tell us, this event here, this is just the second year for the Sutho Cops and Rodders event. Now, Jim, over the years, you've been to many shows. What's your thoughts on this one?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, the oval is so big, they can fit heaps and heaps of different clubs and different sort of exhibitions in. It's just brilliant. I mean, I've never sort of heard of it before, but of course when you get with Shannons and stuff, they take it all the interesting places, and it's just brilliant. Yeah.
Got some good shots up on top of the super rig and having a look around, just to give you, I guess, an idea of the enormity of this place here, and put on by our cops as well, which I reckon is a real nice touch.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's about getting the police force out more familiar with the average guy and lady, and it makes them look like friends rather than enemies.
Yeah. All the guys that do burnouts, they haven't turned up today.
They probably are, but they're in disguise.
Jim, wonderful catching up with you, mate. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Fletch.
Walking around the field here today, when we talk about opulence, doesn't get much better than this. Have a go at this 1958 Corvette. Mark, welcome to today's Classic Restos.
Thanks, Fletch.
Mate, tell us the deal on this.
I've had the car about 3 years. had to fully restore it, so it took me about 18 months to restore it. Car's been in the country for 20 odd years, was brought in the early 1990s, basically sitting in a shed out in Western Sydney, missing a heap of parts, in pretty poor condition, nice bright orange in colour. So yeah, we brought it home, and basically body off resto, body went off to Gow Street Smash. They did all the panel and paint for me, and then we went through the mechanicals, did the motor, box, steering, finished the conversion off to right-hand drive, brakes, etc., and then process of putting the whole thing back together. So,
Mark, it's absolutely beautiful. Colour by choice or original compliant colour?
it's the original colour. When we got the car, it was a beautiful bright orange, but there were factory markings on the car that showed that originally it was the steel blue colour. So we took it back to that original colour. There was overspray too on the floor and inside the glove box, so we matched it to that colour, so brought it back to what it was.
How many times have I alluded to on the show before, it's like as though Fletcher's a broken record, that the shapes of these cars come from someone's mind? I mean, they didn't have computers to help them in the design.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. It's somebody's imagination, and that's where you get these very pure shapes from, I think.
Peter, tell us quickly about the engine, the size, and what you've done to it.
Yeah, it's standard motor, so it's a 283. This is a fuel injected car, so in 1958, Chev in the Corvette range. There was about 400 of these made with fuel injection. It was sort of the top of the range option for the motor. So the motor's all been just taken back to standard, aside from 30 thou over in the bore and just tidying the motor up. So yeah, pretty well standard.
Now, obviously not electronic fuel injection. Just tell us quickly, Mark, how the mechanical fuel injection works.
Mechanical fuel injection actually is quite simple in its process. It has a high pressure pump that drives off the bottom of the distributor via a cable, and then there is constant pressure fed from the fuel meter arrangement into ports right above the head, so right over the valves. So quite simple.
Again, fantastic technology for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a comment too, whenever I see the 160 mile an hour speedo, gee, I tell you what, Mark, you'd be hanging on with both hands, wouldn't you?
You would be, yeah. And I think it'd blow your hair off your head too, I think, so if you had the top down. So.
Mate, great talking to you, Mark, and I've got a compliment. Have a go at this guy. I mean, he's done so well here with this car. What a fantastic restoration. Good to see the rope around it as well. You take pride in the classic. Good to see, mate.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
Walking around trying to do a TV show, nice lady comes up. Leslie, how are you?
Good, thanks, Fletch, and I remember you from down Chevalier College. I've got a quick question for you.
Yes?
I know a nursing home with a lot of old men in it, and they've asked me if I can get some tapes of all the car shows or various car shows that you've been to, where you can show the old men something to watch other than some of the ladies' videos and so forth they've got in the nursing home. So
Where is this nursing home?
it's at Gymea Bay Nursing Home.
Okay, watching in other parts of Australia or around the world, Gymea is a suburb in the Sutherland Shire. Good old Sutherland Shire, just south of Sydney in New South Wales. I'm sorry, Leslie, we don't do tapes.
Well, see,
But I can do DVDs though.
I'm one of the older ones, you know.
Now that would be my pleasure. What's the name of the home?
It's Gymea Bay Nursing Home in Koonyong Road.
Yes.
At Gymea.
All right. You're watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. There's going to be some DVD episodes of Classic Restos coming your way very soon. I'd only be too happy to do that, Leslie.
They'd appreciate it, I'm sure. Thank
That's
you
all
very
right.
much for that.
That's all right. Thank you.
See you soon.
You're watching the sensational second Sutho Cops and Rodders event thanks to Shannons Insurance. Now, if you're into your British cars, you're going to love this. Where are the British cars? I get emails. Well, here they are. How are you, Ron?
Very good, Fletch, and yourself?
Good, mate, good. I respond to the emails, the ones that I can respond to. Oh, by the way, if you have sent an email in the past and you haven't got a response, it's not as though I'm ignoring you. It's just, it's getting hard to reply to everybody, Ron.
He's a busy man, isn't he? We watch him and we think he's doing it easy.
Yeah. Occasionally I get an email and people like to see the British cars. They don't come along that often. That's why on today's show there's almost 500 cars in the paddock. There's not many British cars, so I thought I'd pick on you today, Ron. 1960 MG, and you've done a beautiful job, mate.
Yes, it's been a job that was done back in 1990, a full resto, by a bloke called Bob Thomas, who is a master at it, and it's had 2 owners since.
Well, I bet you've got a brother, John Thomas.
I haven't got one of them either.
Call him Dick for short.
Yeah, so it's been done, but been looked after and nurtured with the other 2 owners. And I was chasing this car for 5 years before I got it, and I've had it for about 7 or 8 years. And I'm the custodian at the moment till the next anal person like myself comes along and wants to put love and care into it.
John, the rear near side wheel's fallen off. What's going on there?
Oh, well, it's got a bit of a habit of that. You've got to watch them. I got special brake drums made up in Canada. They're aluminium finned brake drums. They put the steel liner in, they cast them, and they fin them to let air get through. They dissipate the heat quicker, and it gives you much better brakes. I don't know of any MGAs around that have got them, so...
It's a special car. It's the era. You have to agree with me. Late 50s, early 60s. I mean, back in the times when companies were proud of their products, they highlighted everything with shiny stuff. And I mean, boy, in the 2000s now, 2012, you look back, and it's probably a good thing that there's not a lot around, because the temporary custodians now, well, we're the lucky ones.
Yep, we certainly are, and I'm sorry to say that I'm glad to say I'm stuck in the 50s, mate, and I'm pounds, shillings and pence and feet and inches, and
you look good for a bloke that's in his 50s.
Oh, yeah. I'll admit to 74.
Now, John, you're kidding me. You're not.
I'm 74, Fletch, yeah.
See,
I'm proud of it.
See what the motoring fraternity does to you? It keeps you young. Guys, you've got to have a hobby. The ones that do, well, that's great. It's just so important. I see it all the time. It gives longevity.
And the women, they're all happy in that era, and we go out and we have a great time. And
the women are laughing. The ladies watching the show, if you've got a guy that's into cars, you're laughing. Because 99% of the time you know where the guys are. If they're not in the lounge room with you, chances are they're down the shed. They're not down the boozer. All right, John, thank you so much for your time, mate. Great to catch up with you again. You were on the show a long time ago. Where was that?
That was at King's School, Fletch. It was when they started up there, and it caught your eye, this car, and I've looked after it since, and I'm glad it's caught your eye today.
So, second time on Classic Restos.
Oh, fantastic. I must be a regular.
Jeez, mate, you're turning into a bit of a show queen, aren't you?
I wish I was.
Good on you, John. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, mate.
Time now for an Aussie Holden on today's episode of Cops and Rodders on Classic Restos. A 69 HT Monaro. We have Claire. Hello, Claire.
Hi, Fletch.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm nervous. I'm just in awe of you. I've followed your show. My husband got me onto it. And this is the same as if I got to see an Elvis Presley concert, the same standing in front of you.
No.
I'm like, when we first got the car and it was just full rust heap, and I couldn't picture what it was going to be, and Rick explained this is going to be, you know, a big work and a family plan, and we'll do it together. He showed me your videos, and then we bought them, and we saw the whole series, and I saw that car starts from this, and there's Fletch explaining it, and I was like, oh my God. It was like you came into our lounge room and explained what our car was going to be in the future, and this is it.
I go into a lot of places. I go into lounge rooms, I go into bedrooms, I go everywhere, don't I, Claire?
Well, you do, and it did. I got to pump the brakes, put air in, watching it, and Rick and I got to spray the door. I sprayed some of the paint.
Okay, so in other words, Classic Restos has been a big inspiration for you guys.
It was everything. It got to show me when Rick bought the car out of the garage, and it was, you know, it was just a shell of rust. That I got to see what it was, what the future of the car was, because I hadn't really followed cars at that point, and you did. You made me feel like it was a possibility, a reality, and you were just down to earth, like, oh yeah, a real normal person could just get a really nice car.
This is the whole principle of the show. It's for how do I say, the working class person to get one of these classic cars and make it a reality. You know, I mean, it doesn't always have to be $100,000 cars. You guys paid pretty low money for this, right?
$2,000.
$2,000
from a garage. Rick did. Rick found the car.
That's right. Well, that straight away will tell us the condition of what this car must have been like if you paid $2,000 for a '69 HT Monaro.
finish. And it's just the more you got to see it. And then the Route 66 trips I've just addicted to. We are going to do that. But this is the first year the car's been finished. So
Route 66 is special, and because Claire has brought that up, if you want to do Route 66, you know what to do. Go to classicrestos.com.au and click on the Route 66 icon. Rick, have to compliment you on the HT, mate. Nice job, brilliant colour. Drives nice?
Yeah, drives real good. It's not a bad old car for what she was. She was a total wreck when we got her. Yeah, just did the normal things. We HQ front brakes, Commodore disc brake rear end in it just to try and make it stop a bit better. Yep. It has a run around Eastern Creek and Wakefield and a couple of other circuits. We joined a road race club, and you've got to use these classics. You can't let them just sit in the garage and look at them. You've got to give them a flogging. And
yeah, I couldn't top that in the words department if I tried. Rick, great catching up with you. This one here, she's incredible.
My idol. He showed me what the car would be like while it was being made.
That's about the 30th time you've said that.
It's true. I cried when I saw you.
She actually did. Oh, goodness me. I've never been compared to Elvis Presley before. But anyway, thank you so much, guys.
thank you, Fletch.
Thank you, Fletch. Thank you.
You're watching the Sutho Cops and Rodders event. You're watching it first on Classic Restos. Not possible without the support of my major sponsor. Hands up who remembers Chips back in the 70s, California Highway Patrol. Hey, Bob, welcome.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
Mate, I've got to say, you look the part. Look at you. You're dressed as though you've just got off the jet from LA. You've got the sensational Harley-Davidson police bike. Tell us a little bit about the bike and why you're here today.
Okay, well, the bike, this one here is a Road King, an FL frame. It's 96 cubic inches, which is about 1640cc. It's a 6-speed gearbox.
How cool is this? I mean, these bikes are so opulent. I mean, it must be comfortable to ride.
Oh, it's hard work, mate, but someone's got to do it. They are exceptionally comfortable. They're a very, very easy motorcycle to ride, even for being, you know, like an 800-pound motorbike. They're very, very easy to ride, very light to get around through traffic.
So throwing the leg over takes on a whole new meaning, Bob.
Oh, yeah. Well, at my age it does anyway.
He's really something. You got a whole string of Harleys along here. You guys have really presented well here today, mate. Thanks for coming along, eh?
Fletch, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope we look forward to seeing you in 2013 for Cops and Riders again.
Back in the early 1980s in the Sutherland Shire of New South Wales, Australia, I met up with this guy, motor mechanic Peter Dean. Peter, after all these years, mate, it's just so good to see you again.
Yeah, it is. It's terrific, Fletch.
You're just as happy to see me?
Yeah, just a good guy. And
I can tell.
always happy and and talkative, and talk to me, and we talk about cars and old times. It's terrific.
Well, I tell you what, mate, you're a bloody good mechanic, and from what I hear, you still are.
Yeah, I've been at it for 50 years. Experience with lubrication and what have you.
Yeah.
That's what I specialise in, and brakes.
Good on you, mate. You've always been into your classics. I remember back in the 80s you were as well, but you've done something special with this 56 or 57. What's our year, the Cuzzo behind us, Peter?
Oh, well, I buy parts in the States for 56, but everyone tells me it's 57 or 58 BJX, but
He's a great mechanic. He just doesn't know the year of his car.
as long as the parts fit, I'm happy.
Mate, it's a beautiful car. Let's start with the paintwork. What's the colours there, Peter?
Oh, it's some colour yellow and white and grey. I really don't know the paint colours.
That's all right. You don't need to know the names.
I'm a mechanic. I'm a motor mechanic.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of which, Peter, mechanically, how does the old girl drive?
It drives beaut. It's a really nice, tight car.
Yep.
Beautiful 272 V8 in it.
Yeah.
Good as the day it was made.
Just a lazy old thing?
Yeah, I won't get booked.
Yeah.
I just like to float around the district, you know.
Well, mate, look, that's what it's all about. I mentioned that earlier in the show. You're out on the freeway, if you sit on your 90 k's an hour, you don't have to even do the speed limit. There's just something about the feel of the cars, and it's all about taking it in, isn't it?
It is. I like to hear the sound of the exhaust. You open the window and you hear a boom, 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 boom. Beautiful sound.
As I say as well, if you drive slow out on the road, you'll never have anyone in front of you.
That's right. That's a fact.
I mean, you might have a few cranky people behind you, but that's another story. Peter, beautiful car. How long did it take you to get it to the way it is?
Oh, I've had the car for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 months.
Good on you, mate. And look, before we go, I've got to just make a comment too about your interior. I mean, everything's just so nice about it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
Well, Peter, it's been great seeing you again, mate. I tell you what, as I said, we go back. I mean, Peter used to work on my XD Falcon when it was only, well, virtually a few years old. So we're going back in the years, mate, and you must have done a good job because that did over 400,000 Ks, that car.
Yep, yeah, I know how to keep them going. I'm a specialist in keeping them going.
Yeah. I used to, back in those times, I used to do a little bit of stuff myself, but I don't know, whenever I used to put it into Peter, yeah, it always ran pretty well after you had your tools on it, mate.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at my job.
All right, catch you later, mate. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, look after yourself, Fletch.
No worries, mate.
Pleasure to do business with you.
Good on you too, buddy.
Okay, all the best.
I tell you what, when it comes to cruisers, old guys rule. What do you reckon, Ernie?
Old guys do rule, even though we've got the grey hair, so we do rule.
Good on you, buddy. Have a go at this, would you? A 1934 three-window coupe. Beautiful job. How long have you had it, Ernie?
I've had this one 11 years, and it was red, but we changed the colour to purple. And my wife said, if you're going to change it to any colour, she said purple's got to be that. They say it's a psychic colour. I don't know if it is or not.
Well, it could be. It could be the old positive karma thing. You just never know.
You never know.
It's good to radiate positive, Ernie.
It is, especially when the wife's backing it.
So tell us, mate, do you drive the fastest milk truck in the West or what?
Used to drive the fastest fire truck in the West, but yeah, and I've got that song, Ernie.
Yeah, what a classic that is.
Played at my funeral, I think.
Well, that's going to be a long, long way away, mate, because this car's keeping you young. Now, tell us about the engine. What have you done there?
It's a 350 tune port injection. They come out of a Corvette, first with the aluminium heads. It's got a turbo 350 gearbox, Jaguar independent rear end, and a Rod City independent front end.
Geez, mate, it'd turn nice into corners.
It does. It drives really well. Very responsive, especially with the fuel injection. It's really good.
A bit better than what it did in 1934.
It does, a lot better, yeah. I get about probably 120 Ks out of 20 litres. So. Yeah.
Ernie, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, mate. I love the old three-window. It's beautiful, really nice.
One day I'd like to do a cruise with you down the Route 66.
That's all right. Mentioned that earlier in the show too. ClassicRestos.com.au. Click on the Route 66 icon. Go to the website for more information. Hope to see you do it one year.
Will do. Thank you very much.
And just for the record, I'm there April, May 2013, the spring tour. Yeah.
Righto. That'd be a good one.
Okay. Thanks, Ernie.
Thank you.
Now, you might remember some time ago on Classic Restos, we had Ken at the 40th anniversary of the A Model Ford Club at Castle Hill in New South Wales, Australia. Now, Ken, you featured on the show then with 4 wheels, set of chassis rails, engine, gearbox, and you're as keen as mustard to get this car on the road. And look at this, we have the finished product here today.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty proud of what I've achieved here, Fletch, because then I was working towards going up to Queensland, up to Ipswich for our national rally. So with a lot of hard work, and I've managed to finish it off a couple of weeks before we left to go up to Ipswich for the rally.
That's amazing. So how many places, where have you been since it's been on the road?
Oh, well, I go on various rallies with the car club on weekends and down the coast and up to Gosford, and I can use it whenever I wish.
I remember too, when I first interviewed you, the chassis rails, engine and gearbox, the exhaust, the tail shaft, everything was pristine. I mean, you cut no corners here, and it shows in this end result. Isn't it beautiful? Have a go at it. The burgundy red here in the sun up against the crosshatch, the wire grille. That's absolutely gorgeous, mate. Good on you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Fletch. I really appreciate it. And it turns a lot of heads, and I'm happy about that, you know?
Good on you, Ken. Take care.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Well, there you have it. The second annual Sutho Cops and Rodders event, and you've seen it first on Classic Restos. What a sensational show. Now, classicrestos.com.au is the website you need to find out more information regarding major sponsors and how they can help you. You can also find out information travelling Route 66, and the DVD boxed sets of Classic Restos are there as well. Now, wherever you're watching Classic Restos from, as I say at the end of every show, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you for watching.
Don't forget to like Classic Restos on Facebook. Facebook.com/Classic Restos TV. And episodes can be seen at Shannons.com.au. Well, there goes another Classic Restos. Thanks for riding along with me. For DVD sets and to contact the major sponsors, go to classicrestos.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance.